Was it the supernatural who was so interested in creating the do's and don'ts for us? Or was it some narcissist who manipulated, who gaslighted and created the do's and don'ts? Hello everyone, I hope everyone is doing good and taking good care of themselves. So today I'm going to talk about narcissists and spiritual abuse. And before I get going, I will request you all to like, share, subscribe the channel, hit the notification bell so you guys are updated whenever we put out a new content. As we know that these narcissistic folks are into abusing anything and everything, whether it is their knowledge, their sexuality, their power, their good looks, whatnot. These narcissistic folks are big time into using anything and everything that they have to get you and to manipulate you and keep you on hook and get whatever they want out of you. These narcissists, they don't have remorse, they don't feel guilty, they have got zero empathy, and overall they really don't feel anything for their supply. I mean, for you and me, they really don't have any feeling on the inside. We are just like servant to serve them, yeah. And they don't hesitate in abusing us, or they don't even hesitate in exploiting us. Yeah, they can exploit us to any extent to get whatever they want, and they can use anything to exploit us. So narcissism is quite a reality these days because we have started talking about it. There is quite a lot of people who are doing a lot of research, who are helping the victims to heal. So there is quite a lot of awareness regarding narcissism and narcissistic abuse that is happening in today's time. But does that mean that narcissism never existed in the past? And the answer is no. Narcissism is as old as religion or tradition or spirituality, whatever you call it. And spiritual abuse is something that not much of people talk about it, yeah, because the things that one gets out of spirituality is quite good stuff that one gets and one feels good about it. So they become a little bit emotionally involved with their spiritual practice or spiritual belief, and they become very dismissive. They really dismiss anything which uh, shakes their reality, anything that makes them doubt their belief, their tradition, their religion, whatever you call it. So then that discomfort makes a person violent, abusive, and people don't tolerate. How can you say such a thing about my belief? How can you say such a thing about his belief, her belief, whatsoever? Yeah. And that is how things are. People get emotional about certain things, which is absolutely fine. Now, I'm not here to emotionally hurt any one out there, but I'm here to talk about narcissism, narcissists, spiritual trauma, and spiritual abuse. Spirituality gives us a couple of things. One is sanctuary, a physical place like a temple, a church, a mosque where we can go and pray, where we can feel good, we can feel a little revived, where we can feel like a community, that it's not me, there are others as well, and we are a group, and we stand together and we are there to help each other, and we meet once in a week or whatever the setup is. Yeah. So the first thing that we get out of spirituality is sanctuary, a place where we get together, where we come together. Yeah. We feel as if we belong to something that is bigger. Yeah. And we feel good about it, and that's absolutely natural and okay. The next thing that we get from spirituality is knowledge. And the knowledge circles around what is good and what is bad, what should be done, what should not be done, and that's it. Yeah. The third thing that we get out of spirituality is the knowledge and information about the role models. He did this revelation happened onto him, this happened, he brought in this custom tradition, he brought in this information, this was revealed to him, this happened because of him, and all of that. So lots of role models, icons, and all of the thing that we get to know from spirituality. The next thing that we get out of spirituality is connection to a higher power. Yeah, we get to know that there is someone who has created us, and we should seek forgiveness if ever we don't do the way how he or she wants me to do. If I ever violate the laws and rules, I should seek forgiveness. I should pray to him or her and seek her blessings, and that's it. So we learn a lot of different ways and methods how we can please that entity or deity, and we can get their blessing, yeah, so that they care for us. So that is what we get out of spirituality. And the last thing that we get out of spirituality is belonging and support. We get to know that we are not alone, there are others as well, and we are amongst the others, and we are following that one entity, that one supernatural entity, that one power, and we all are devotees, and we have our ways to perform prayer, and we have our different method to connect to him or her, whoever it is, and we are together. And just because we are believing in the same thing, we should support each other. Yeah, we are a community, we are a big family, we are a big spiritual family. So these are some of the things that we get out of spirituality. That's absolutely fine. Whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel calm, whatever helps you revive, whatever helps you nourish, rejuvenate, everything is fine. Do what makes you happy. Yeah, and that's how it is. Now let's come to the points or to the aspects that raises red flags. We talked about the good things that we get out of spirituality. Now let us talk about the things that is sure shot a red flag. Yeah, and that simply tells us that a narcissist is involved. Yeah, these are the red flags made by the narcissist. So the first red flag that we observe is that your natural instincts are labeled as wrong. If you have hunger, craving, or desire for food, for sex, for money, that has been categorized as good and bad as well. Some desires are good, some desires are bad. So in a way, your cardinal desires, something that is innate, something that is inside of you, that is considered, or that is labeled as bad. Only a specific type is allowed and said to be okay. I get the point, or I get the context that fine, that's how a healthy society will be formed if we put in some boundaries and limits. I get that. But controlling a person's sexuality, controlling who the person sleeps with, controlling what the person eats, controlling how much the person needs to earn and what the person needs to do with the money, that's a red flag for me. I get it. Okay, don't sleep around with people. Fine, it's okay. You have desires. You have it with your mate. You find a mate for yourself and you do whatever you want to do. Fine, you can eat whatever you want to eat. That's absolutely okay. Don't force others to eat that as well. If you want to sleep with someone, if both parties are, giving consent to it, go ahead with it. Yeah, the problem is not there. The problem is when do's and don'ts are laid out, and when you are informed that if you're not going to do things this way, God is going to get angry. Someone up there is going to get angry. Someone up there is going to write in a record, and he is going to wait until he settles it with you. You are going to burn in hell. This is what spiritual abuse looks like. I get it. We need to form a civilized society. Okay, there are some do's and don'ts. But bringing in an invisible entity and, doing fear mongering, fear psychosis, and, taking help of these things to control a person, that's pure abuse. That's pure narcissistic abuse. So yes, your natural instincts are wrong, and you can only do things in a specific way, otherwise it's wrong. I get the point that you should not be sleeping around with anyone and everyone. You should know your limits. That's fine. But what is wrong if two people are not married and if they are having sex? What's wrong in that? I think our ancestors, they did not know what marriage was. Like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years back. I mean, like, people didn't know what marriage was. And they were sleeping together, they were having sex, and they were having kids, and they had families as well. Yeah, they were committed to their mates, or whoever, or how many mates they had, they were committed to that. Yeah, they were not into sleeping with anyone and everyone. Everybody had their own pack, yeah, their own unit, their own family. So we had that basic knowledge, since beginning. Yeah, where to draw the line and who to be limited with. We were not like sex maniacs running around, sleeping around, reproducing, impregnating people and all of that, and raping people. No, I mean, majority of us knew that, okay, this is my pack, these are my wife, these are my husband, and this is how it is, these are my kids. I have to go and hunt, I have to go and do this, I have to do the caring and rearing of the animals, I have to take care of the kids, I have to take care of the food. So everybody knew their role. There was no right and wrong, and there was no fear attached to it. If you don't do this, you're going to burn in hell. God is going to get angry with you. You're going to burn in hell. He's going to punish you. Yeah. So when your natural instincts are labeled as wrong, that is a red flag. That is a sign of spiritual abuse. I mean, I might grow up and I might feel attracted to a man, and if I'm single, I can go and have a relationship with the man. Or if I feel attracted towards a woman, I can, have a relationship with a woman. It's mutual, and both parties have consent of each other. Yeah. But in my sex life also, a supernatural, person or being comes in and tells me, you can't do this, this is wrong, not this way, that way. Yeah. So these are the red flags, and these, do's and don'ts simply tell us how old narcissism is. Narcissists are everywhere, whether it is the education field, whether it is the IT, whether it is the medical, whether it is politics. Narcissists are everywhere. And how can we deny that, there were no narcissists in these spiritual communities or religious communities? How can we deny the existence of narcissists there? We keep hearing a lot of things that some pastor did this to a small little girl, some mullah did this to a small little boy, this guy did this, this Hindu priest did this. I mean, all religious heads, have been caught doing a lot of evil things with kids and other people without consent. Yeah. So that raises a question, why why such things are happening? If it's so much of control, piousness, do's and don'ts, fear of the unknown, why still people are going ahead and doing things? It's because they are narcissists. They feel entitled. I can do anything and everything, because they know that they are not scared of the thing that is out there. They know that nothing exists there, but this story is helping me be more powerful. This story, this entire outlook is helping me to exercise anything and everything. This entire story, this entire uh, agenda is enabling me to abuse people however I want. And that's absolutely fine. Later on, the enablers come in. And then they say, it's okay. He might have been influenced by the devil. He might have been influenced by Satan, by demon, and all of that. So there is a huge, I would say, room for these narcissists to play when we look at religion and spirituality. The next red flag is that you should feel good about feeling bad. Yes, there are a lot of do's and don'ts that we see in a lot of these different spiritual tradition and practices that really brings in a lot of pain and agony to the relationship, to you in general, and you need to feel good about it. You cannot talk about it, you cannot say no to it, because that is the way. You have to bear everything bad and you have to feel good about it. The more you become abuse tolerant, the more you tolerate pain and abuse, the better you will be in this life and in the afterlife. So that is how twisted these things are, and these red flags often go unnoticed. People really don't talk about it, but we need to understand that there is a huge possibility that narcissists might have you know changed or might have distorted a lot of the things for their benefit, so that they can get easy access to persecute, subjugate, and abuse people, the weaker ones. So yes, you should in general feel good about feeling bad. Yeah, so that is one of the red flags. You don't want to do something, you hate doing it, but you have to tell yourself that yes, I'm feeling good, though you are hating it on the inside, but you have to convince yourself. So this causes a great deal of distortion inside of you, and you really lose grip over your own self. Yeah, you really begin to doubt your own self. You can say this is like a kind of a gaslighting, that you are hurt, but I'm telling you, okay, you are hurt, but you are hurt in his name. It's okay. He's going to be happy. So you need to feel good about it. Yeah, maybe you might be having excruciating pain because of that hurt and injury, but you need to feel good about it because you were hurt in the process of pleasing him or her. Yeah, so that is how toxic and disturbing these things get. And of course, these are the red flags. I did talk about the things that we get out of spirituality, and which is very good. It makes you feel good. But when we look at these things, these red flags, that raises a lot of these questions as to uh, who created these do's and don'ts. Was it the supernatural who was so interested in creating the do's and don'ts for us? Or was it some narcissist who manipulated, who gaslighted and created the do's and don'ts? The next red flag is you should never acknowledge some topics and sin. Let me give you an example. A woman is having a child, she is not married. The child is an abomination according to the community, religion, faith and belief. The child is outside marriage, or the woman was not married and she had a child. So she has done sin, and now she has to suffer, and the kid has to suffer. You need to understand that we need support through thick and thin. As humans, we need support. Yeah. But when we talk about certain of the spiritual practices and tradition, it's quite abandoning in nature. Yeah. She's done it, abandon her. No one is going to help her. She can't seek help. Yeah. Because the kid is an abomination and she has done sin. She has to face it. Yeah. And no one will come forward to help her. So this is how things are. Yeah. If someone does something which is not listed in the manual that has been prepared by maybe a human or a divine being, that becomes sinful and no one can come forward and help her. And she can't even talk about it. We really don't know what happens next with her and her children. So this abandonment, if someone consumes alcohol, abandon him. He has done sin. For some tradition, if someone has consumed this, if someone has done this, if someone has, had sex outside marriage, it's bad, it's this, it's that. All of this, if you don't do this, you are committing a sin. If you don't do that, this is not right, this is not wrong, this is wrong, this is how it should be. So all of this raises a red flag. It's not about keeping the society civilized. All what we are looking at is different ways to establish control, whether fear of the unseen or abandonment. What are we looking at? All these red flags are, forms of narcissistic abuse that we have talked in a lot of the episodes. So yes, if you're not going to do this, you'll be abandoned. If you're not going to do this, we'll withhold love. Gaslighting, triangulation, manipulation. But yes, this has a spiritual twist to everything. He gets angry, she gets angry. Yeah, we can't help you. You have done an eternal sin and you have to burn in hell. So yes, these are actually not spiritual abuse, I would say. These are forms of narcissistic abuse. But yes, we can see these abusive things happening in the spiritual domain as well. And the last red flag is God's love is conditional. If you don't do what God has told you to do, He's not going to meet you. He's going to burn you. He's going to abandon you. He's not going to have mercy towards you. What are we looking at? We are looking at narcissistic abuse. We are looking at narcissistic rage. We are looking at narcissistic injury. What are we looking at? Ask these questions to yourself. So yes, only if you do a certain thing a certain way, God is going to love you. And if you don't do things in a certain way, God is going to punish you. Someone who has created the entire universe will be punishing you for not obeying Him. Why wouldn't He go ahead and create something else? A lot of questions are there. But anyways, we are not going into that. So yes, God's love is conditional. And this is a kind of a spiritual abuse we are looking at. And of course, it's narcissistic abuse with, I would say, a layer of spirituality around, where a supernatural entity is there. Some agents have written some records, and if you're not doing things or matching up the records, things are going to be a little ugly for you. But it's the same thing. It's the same, seeking admiration. It is the same craving for control, is the same a narcissistic rage and injury that we are looking at, is the same gaslighting techniques, that he's going to hate you, he's going to burn you if you don't do what he wants you to do, but he is not coming and saying what he wants out of you. So there are a lot of things which is abusive, or which we can see has become abusive when we talk about, or when we look at spirituality. And that tells us that yes, narcissists are there everywhere, whether it is politics, medical, news, media, uh, government, everywhere narcissists are there, whether it's our family, or if it's our spiritual tradition or faith. We can see traces of narcissism everywhere. Yeah, anyone can follow anything, but when people begin to tell you my way is the right way, I'm going to torture you, you're not following my way is the right way, and that goes to heaven, your way is the wrong way and you're gonna burn. What are we looking at? We are looking at a narcissistic rage. We are looking at a narcissist getting hurt when someone is not agreeing to him or her. Yeah, so this was all about spiritual abuse and spiritual trauma and the narcissist. But these things go unnoticed because it's of spiritual nature. We should not contradict, we should not speculate, we should not talk about it. There is a lot of these hush hush around. No, 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 shh, don't talk about it. Don't. I'm not going to talk about it. It's okay, you can follow whatever you want, but remember, whatever you follow, if it's not making you healthy, if it's not making you feel good, you need to question why. Yeah, so yes, that was all about this episode. And in case if you would like to add in something, please do comment below, and like, share, subscribe the channel, and take care of yourself and try and stay away from narcissists. Bye.